Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Bronwyn, and today I'm going to be talking through some of my favorite magical moments that I got to make as a cast member in Walt Disney World. I get asked to make this video all the time, and I don't know why it took me so long to make it. I guess just because I made a lot more magical moments in PhotoPass than I did merchandise, and the merchandise program is fresher in my brain, so it took me more time to figure out what magic I had made. But after thinking long and hard about it, I have 5 magical moments that really stick out in my brain that I want to share with you all today. The first memory is one that is about a little boy named Hugh. I was working in Plaza Garden East, which is better known as the Hubgrass. That was always a spot that wasn't very busy, so I was kind of just standing there, not doing much, and a mom approached me and asked if I could come out in front of the fountain to take a photo of her son. Obviously, I said, yes, of course. And as we're walking over to her son, she leans over to me and says that he has autism, so he's probably not gonna look at the camera, he's probably not gonna smile, but just to do the best that I could. So I went over, and sitting right in front of the fountain was a little 6-year-old boy, and I asked him and his mom if they were going anywhere anytime soon, and she said no, they were waiting for the parade, so they were just kind of killing time. So I asked if it was okay if I just sat and talked with him for a couple minutes, and she was like, yeah, sure, I don't care, whatever. So I sit down next to him, and I find out, obviously his name is Hugh, and that he's 6 years old. I just wanted to know what he had been on that day, you know, what shows he had seen, if he had met any characters, and just how his day was going. So after about 5 minutes of us just chatting, I asked him, I was like, hey Hugh, is it okay if I take a couple pictures of you? And he nodded his head, so I was like, okay, cool. So I go in front of him and I start taking pictures, and like the mom had said, he wasn't really smiling, wasn't really super into it, but I was like, you know, she kind of warned me about this, and I'm just gonna do the best that I can. It's fine. After I take in what I thought was a decent amount, I go to scan the mom's magic band, and I feel Hugh tap me on the leg, and he looks up at me and says, smile, with the biggest smile on his face. So immediately I'm like, okay, let me start taking some more pictures because he's smiling for me in front of the castle. That's what we wanted, whatever. After I take a couple more of him, I go to scan the mom's magic band again, and she was crying, and I was like, oh my god, I just ruined these people's vacation, what did I do wrong, whatever. So I started apologizing, and I was like, I am so sorry, I didn't mean to do anything, whatever. And she immediately shut me down. I was like, no, 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 you did not do anything wrong. This is the first time he's ever voluntarily smiled for a photo. And I was like, ah. So it was very magical for me, as well as for Hugh and his mom, that not only did they get some of the first photos of him voluntarily smiling for a photo, but it's in front of flippin' Cinderella Castle, and that's pretty magical if you ask me. The next is one that happened while I was working in The View, which is a location up at the front of the park where you can go and look at your photos, you can get them printed. If you're missing photos, PhotoPass can help you find them, that whole shebang. And there was this couple that came up to me and they wanted to get their photos printed, and I was like, oh yes, of course. We have this package that's called the Capture the Magic package, where you get 2 5x7s and 4 4x6s, and it's the best deal for what you're paying for, rather than paying for everything individually, because those pictures are pricey. They knew going into it that that's what they had wanted to get, and I was like, perfect, that makes it easy. We just need to pick the photos and we'll get them printed for you. Awesome. They had about 10 pictures. All of them were just on Main Street, one session. It wasn't like they had been all over the park taking these photos. And I laughed when I looked at them because it was the wife and the husband's birthday. So the wife had gone first and taken some photos with her button, with it on, holding it out, the super cute ones that PhotoPass does. And then the husband did it as well, and instead of getting a new happy birthday button, he just held the same one and put his finger over her name, which just made me laugh. And I made the comment, I was like, do you want another birthday button? I literally could give you one right now. And they're like, oh no, it's totally fine. You know, his birthday was yesterday, mine's today, it's my turn to celebrate, whatever. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So as I was just adjusting all their pictures and making sure everything was how they wanted it to look, we were just carrying on a conversation, and the wife was celebrating her 50th birthday, the husband was celebrating his 55th, and the wife was just going on and on and on about how literally for the last 50 years all she wanted was to spend her birthday in Disney World, and this was the first time she was doing it. So I asked her, I was like, well, you know, is it everything that you dreamed it would be? And she just slammed her hands out. She was like, this has been the most magical day. I cannot imagine a more perfect birthday. Keep in mind, it was literally maybe 2 o'clock. Her day was nowhere near over, and she was just could not believe how perfect and magical of a day that she had had. So in my head, I was like, yeah, these people are paying for these photos. We're not doing that. We weren't allowed to do it for everyone or all of the time, but we did have the opportunity to give people their photos for free if we felt like they needed or deserved it. So yeah, as she was talking in my head, I was like, you're not paying for these photos. Like, this is, y'all are so cute. I can't, oh my gosh, you're having the most magical day and I'm gonna make it even more magical. Perfect. So normally I would give them their receipt to take over to the merchandise cast member as I was packing up all of their photos. And obviously I didn't do that. I took the receipt and I ripped it and I threw it in the trash, basically. The Capture the Magic also has this fun little like booklet, pamphlet thing that your photos come in. So as I'm putting them in there, I'm still carrying on talking to these people like they are just going on and on about how wonderful of a day they are having. So I put the photos in a bag and I hand it to them after, obviously she like finishes her story. I don't like interrupt her. But I was like, here you go, y'all have a very magical day, happy birthday, whatever. And I didn't really say anything. She was just like, oh, thank you, and took the photos. And as she was about to turn away, she was like, wait, I didn't pay for these. And I was like, don't even worry about it. They are on the mouse. Happy birthday. Y'all go have fun, whatever. And she was like, no, I have to pay. I have to pay. And I was like, no, you don't. Mickey Mouse told me that these are for you. You do not have to pay, whatever. And she just starts bawling and on and on. It's like, I cannot believe you did this for us. Oh my gosh, this is the best birthday ever. And it's just, those are the people that I would love to give magical moments to, is they're not expecting it. They are more than happy to pay for whatever it is. But then they do get a magical moment and you're like taken aback by it. That's what I always say to people, is if you expect magical moments, you're not gonna get them. That's the tea. The next is kind of a sad story that ended up being happy, so bear with me. I was working on Fantasyland Bridge, which is the bridge that leads into Fantasyland by the teacups, like down by the castle. And I was taking pictures, whatever. The location was moderately busy, not too bad. And I noticed a little boy that was standing on the opposite side of the bridge that looked kind of confused, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a couple minutes. If he's still there in 5 to 10 minutes, then I'll go like make sure that he's okay. Because if he was just pouting from his family or whatever, I didn't wanna like, you know what I mean. I was just gonna give it the time that I was supposed to give it. So 10 minutes go by, he's still standing there, is looking much more worried, is kind of like pacing back and forth. So I finished with the family that I was with and I go over to him and I was like, hey buddy, like what's up? What are you doing? Whatever. Immediately starts bawling and like throws his arms around me. He's like, I can't find my parents. And I was like, okay, so it is what I thought it was. He was probably like 10 years old, super sweet, was British, so like, oh God, bless his heart. I hug him back and I was like, it's okay, like I work here and I can help you find your parents. So I just started asking him the normal questions like, you know, when was the last time you saw them? What are they wearing? Whatever, just to make sure that they weren't immediately in that area. He explained it, I didn't see them. So I started to take him over to the baby care center, which is where lost kids go. And the whole way there, I was trying to just make him laugh because I didn't want him to be traumatized over the fact that he couldn't find his parents. And so I said to him, I was like, you know, you're not lost. He was like, yes I am, I don't know where my parents are, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it sure sounds like your parents are the lost ones, not you. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you know where you are, you're here with me. We don't know where your parents are, so they're the ones that are lost. And he was like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. Immediately stopped crying. And I was like, okay, that was easy. In the meantime, I had called my coordinators and was like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not in my location right now, I'm helping this kid, whatever. And they're like, you're totally fine, do what you need to do, like, just call us when you're back out. And I was like, okay. I take him over to the baby care center, blah, blah, blah. We find his parents. The parents are so relieved and so thrilled that I found their child because he was one of like 4 children. So I can imagine that they are already very stressed to, 1, be in a country that they aren't from, and 2, be in a new area because they all had on first visit buttons, so they don't know what they're doing. And 3, having to manage 4 kids under the age of 10 is a task. I could tell even after the kid had been reunited with his parents that he was still not thrilled and wasn't having a great time. So I was like, okay, I wanna make this kid happy, I wanna make this family happy, and I don't want them to remember this day as the day their kid got lost in Disney World. So they told me that they were headed out of the park because they were heading to like Hollywood Studios or something. And I said, well, do you have like 10 minutes to spare? And they were like, yeah, sure, I guess, whatever. So I was like, okay, there's just somebody that I really need y'all to talk to. And I think they thought I was gonna make them like talk to more security or like child protective services. I don't know, they were like a little bit hesitant. And I was like, no, I promise, it'll be okay. Like, you don't need to worry. So I took them up to the front of the park and I got them in to meet Mickey Mouse without having to wait in the line. I dropped them off there. They were all like floored that they, 1, were meeting Mickey because apparently they hadn't done that yet, and 2, didn't have to wait in the line for it. They were like, no, we're supposed to go over here. And I was like, no, you're gonna follow me and we're going this way, like, trust me. So I took them, they met Mickey, whatever. I just kind of hung out to make sure that, you know, everything went smoothly. And after they came out, the little boy came running up to me and gave me the biggest hug and just kept saying over and over that this was the best day ever, and he was just so happy. And it just, I feel like I really did my job in making something that could have been like the ruiner of a vacation and making it into, you know, their best day ever. So even the parents were raving. They're like, I cannot believe that just happened. Mickey talked to them, which was like, psh to them. And yeah, it just made me really happy that I was able to make a very not fun situation a lot more magical. One of my favorite things about working in PhotoPass was that you kind of had the freedom to not do whatever you wanted, but you could, if you didn't have a line or a ton of people, whatever, you did have the ability to really create something magical for people. There was one day that I was working Main Street, and I think we had already stepped off for the parade or something. I don't know. I remember I was backstage and I got a call that I needed to go and do a first haircut at the barber shop, as in take photos of the first haircut, not actually cut the kid's hair, because that would be bad. They're like, it's gonna start in about 10 minutes, so you know, do what you need to do and then just head over there as quick as you can. And I said, okay, perfect. So I go over there and there's what was called the Magical Moments Rover, which was basically somebody that was designated that day to, hello, my cat just came in. They were designated to walk around the Main Street area. They're the ones that would take photos of the Grand Marshal family of the day as they like came down in front of the parade and everything, and they would have a special little photo shoot after with them. Look who it is. You wanna say hi? You do? Yeah? You talking? They would also just kind of walk around and take photos as they wished of just cute stuff that they saw kids doing, and then would just randomly hand people PhotoPass cards rather than, you know, somebody specifically asking for a photo. They just kind of like walked around and did whatever they wanted. So I got to the barber shop and the Magical Moments Rover was already in there doing the photo shoot because I guess they had already started, whatever. Very loudly, because if you've been to the barber shop, it's very small. There's 2 chairs, like it's literally tiny in there. The Magical Moments Rover was like, are you here for the first haircut? And I said, yeah, like I just got called, whatever. And she just very loudly starts complaining on and on and on about how she has better things to be doing than this and blah, blah, blah. And the parents didn't really like show any attention to it, but I know that they could hear it because it was very loud. So I quickly was just like, okay, well you can leave now, bye. So that I could just take over and not have her ruin this very special moment for this family. So I finished up the haircut. The parents are super, super sweet and did not expect anything after. They're like, thank you so much, like whatever. And I asked them, I was like, are y'all headed like to a fast pass or anything soon? They're like, no, we're just about to go find a spot for the parade. And I asked them, I was like, well, would you like a couple more photos, you know, outside of the barbershop or just on Main Street? And they were like, oh my God, yes, of course. So I basically gave them their own personal little photo shoot because I wanted them to remember this as a positive time and not look at the photos and be like, oh God, yeah, that was when that lady was so mad she had to take photos of us. And I wanted them to know that, no, this is a special moment. You deserve to have great photos. The grandparents have been waiting outside, so I got to get them involved in everything, which was super special because normally grandparents don't get to be in a lot of photos and everything, but it just, yeah, they were very appreciative and very happy, and it just really made my day that they felt special. Hi, buddy. The last one is more of, I guess, a magical moment for me that it just makes me laugh, which is why I'm gonna tell this story. There was one day that I was working east, which is basically like Tomorrowland and the front half in front of the castle of Main Street. I was just shooting in front of the castle, and when my coordinator said, hey, you need to go and call base, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm probably doing something wrong, or my camera's messed up, or they're moving me to a worse location. Like, you just always expect the worst when they say you need to go and call. So I call and they were like, hey Bronwyn, you clock out at such and such time today, right? And I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, okay, perfect. We're actually gonna send you up to North because Chip and Dale are doing a pop-up and you're gonna go and shoot that. And I was like, wait, really? They're like, yeah, they're gonna be out 3 times at this time, this time, and this time. If they're not out, you can just hang out in that area and rove around, kind of do whatever you want. This was up in Storybook Circus. Did I say that? I don't remember. So that was magical for me that I got to leave shooting in front of the castle to go do a pop-up with Chip and Dale, which is already like super fun. With a pop-up, it's obviously not announced, and if you walk by and see them, then you can go and meet them. It's not like something you're gonna be able to find on the app or plan for. So there's this one lady that came up. I don't know where she was from, but she didn't speak English. And she was so excited to meet them, like so excited, which is awesome. Like, it's obviously more fun when people are excited to meet the characters. And as I was about to take a photo, she was like, oh, wait, wait, wait. And she reaches in her bag, literally pulls out a baby squirrel. And me and the attendant, because at first we didn't realize what it was. I thought she was just holding like a little, it looked like a tsum tsum, but it obviously wasn't. The attendant and I, like as I'm taking the photos and as Chip and Dale realize what's going on, we all just burst out laughing because this lady really just pulled a baby squirrel out of her bag. To this day, I don't know if she came into the park with it, if she found it in the park, like, because I don't know how she would have gotten it through security. I don't know if they let in baby animals. Like, it was literally this big, like it just fit in the palm of her hand. And I went back to base and I showed like whoever was in there the photos, and I was like, y'all have got to see this. This is the craziest and funniest thing I've ever seen. It was the best. I don't know if that's really a magical moment. I guess getting to work the Chip and Dale pop-up was the magical moment for me, but that, as I thought about that, I just thought about the lady with the squirrel and it just made my day, so I wanted to share it. Those are all of the magical moments that I made that I'm going to share today. I have a ton more, so if you would like a part 2 sometime in the future, then let me know. I also have a couple for merchandise that I just didn't talk about because the PhotoPass ones are more fun. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see y'all again real soon. Bye!